Hakki Ocal joins us now in our studio. He's the political editor at the Milliyet newspaper, as well as a lecturer at Istanbul's Bahçeşehir University. Thank you very much for joining us here in the studio. So what does the 15th of July mean for you? I mean, it's the Night of Defiance, a momentous night for Turkey.
It's a Night of Defiance, that's for sure. But we are commemorating a very heroic night here. But today, Turkish people are much wiser, more educated than they were a year ago. A year ago, we didn't know that we could prevent a coup happening. I've been through almost all coups, except the very first one in 1909. And Turkish people accepted those coups, as we call them, as a strike against the government, literally translated. They were strikes against our democratic rights. We accepted them as they come. But this time, since the very last one, a new generation of Turkish journalists, so educated Turkish people that they didn't accept, as we did, other previous coups. This time they said, no, sir, you are not going to do this to us. We elected government, we toppled them, we replaced them at the ballot boxes.
So you're talking about the media here. Is it the success through private channels as well, if we compared it to the previous coups?
Definitely, definitely. More educated people are in the press and in media now, and they are much more democratic than their elders.
And social media was also very effective, wasn't it, on the 15th?
It was, and the first organization, I got the first information, I was vacationing then in near Antalya, from social media. I mean, the televisions didn't even have a coup yet.
And if we looked at the previous coups, as you just mentioned, I mean, it's not really the same, is it? Because it's different kind of violence here. I mean, in the previous coups, have we seen bombings of the parliament or killing innocent people on the street?
No, such a wonderful question. I mean, in the first coup, a little personal anecdote here. My mother was acting director of postal and telegraph office in a small town near Ankara, and she was taken by the army jeep. And when she was there, she learned about the coup and everything, and she had to wait until morning there, and she started crying, saying that my two little kids are at home. And this soldier, this commander who took over the post office, sent her back to grab us and bring to the post office. So I spent the first coup in post office playing with those telegraph machines. And when you are willing, your intention is actually to run the government next day, this is how you treat people. Why are you killing the president if your intention is to run the government next day? Why are you bombing the parliament? I think the very answer to this question is that the intention of the coup plotters were not to run the country or to replace the government, to topple the government or anything. They were intending directly to a civil war. And at one point, they would say, oh, sorry, there was these runaway soldiers who killed the president, who killed the prime minister, and we are now the acting government in exile, for instance.
So it's not the actual coups that Turkey is actually used to, which happens throughout the morning, really, not even at that time where 15th of July took place.
You are right. And this time, it was actually not a coup per se, but it was a coup in the shape, it was declaration of war on Turkish people. Their direct intent was actually to start a civil war.
So now national unity marches are being staged, and first one was staged in Istanbul, and we're expecting President Erdogan to arrive in Ankara. Can you say the national unity is there today?
I certainly personally believe yes. This, as I said in the beginning, we are commemorating a very sad event, but you look at the faces of people in those gatherings, in the Martyrs Bridge or in Ankara. They are happy. Now they are aware of their strength. They say, oh my God, we could prevent a coup happening. We could stop soldiers, we could stop airplanes. when interviewed this first guy who was trying to stop the tank, what was his impression that day, how was his sentiments, he says, I didn't feel anything at that point, but later I noticed that tank is such a big machine. I mean, it was some motivation coming from the people, historical, very remarkable thing to happen. And now we are more educated, as I say, wiser people. We know that we somehow earn democracy, our democratic rights. They are not given to us. Now we grab them, we defended them, we earned them.
And as we're waiting for President Erdogan to speak in Ankara, there's another question. It's been a year, the state of emergency hasn't been lifted, and it's seen as necessary, as Erdogan mentioned. There can be no question of lifting the emergency rule with all this happening. What does it mean by that, with all this happening?
Oh, first of all, as he explained, this emergency rule is not making life any more difficult for ordinary people. I mean, we all go to our business as we used to, but now it gives some leverage to the police, to the public prosecutors to collect better evidence, or to collect easily, and also he knows, President knows better than we do, the amount or the vastness of this infiltration of that cult. When I say cult, there's only one word comes to my mind. It is the Branch Davidians in the United States. And everybody thought that until the first fire was opened at the FBI agents or FTP agents at that time, everybody thought that they were religious people doing good work. That was the case in our country too. I mean, this Fethullah Gülen organization was doing good job, good work, as Opus Dei did, as Jesuits did, hospitals, schools, and everything. And even I, for one, defended the right of seminary school graduates to join police forces. But who would imagine that they were actually getting their orders from what they call their area imams or something? So he knows the vastness, the breadth, the depth of these people, this group. Maybe he is trying to keep this leverage of the officials to overcome this issue.
Well, thank you very much, Hakki Ocal, for joining us here in the studio.
Thank you.